Okay, we're back again with, I don't even know what we're calling this at this point because it's like kind of an interview, like what we did last time, King. But now I got a third person in here that you said probably wouldn't come in here to talk to you. But then low key, you guys have talked before, so I don't even know what's going on there. Like you guys explain, or sorry, let me introduce first. I'm a bad host. So we have Julia, which is introduce yourself, I guess.
I'm Julia. I'm unfortunately Rare's ex.
Former roommate of King, right?
Yeah, roommate of King.
Man, okay. So I don't know. I just wanted to kind of like bring you guys together because a lot of people were like, I don't really press King hard enough, and they think we got some weird like relationship. But like, you guys lived together at some point, so I think it'd be interesting to get the two perspectives of two people that are. You guys say like you're kind of good now, or you're kind of like still hate each other. King's not even paying attention.
Oh no, I definitely am. I mean, I'm going ladies first.
I mean, I don't carry any hate in my heart towards that situation anymore at all, but we're not besties by any means.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I'm glad that we can at least be on speaking terms because I've definitely burnt a lot of bridges, but I'm also the type to burn a bridge if I feel as though there's no crossing it. So Julie has always been someone I've respected because I feel like even in like romantic relationships and sometimes in platonic, sometimes in just friendships, I feel like the ultimate ingredient for any relationship is respect. And no matter where you are in your relationship, and if you don't agree, I feel like at some point you might at least understand where I'm coming from because you can love someone and cheat on them. You can love someone and hurt them. But I think when you respect somebody, it's a whole different dynamic because although I have my past with domestic violence and maybe being a little aggressive with certain people, I can admit as a man that Julia has never been one to allow me and my manic and unpredictable energy to overpower her or anything she had going on. So I definitely have a lot of respect for her for standing her ground in some of these crazy situations that we were both involved in living in that house.
Yeah. So I don't want to tread over old ground too much, but like, can you kind of explain? Like, I guess you could, probably should start off. Like, how was King introduced to the whole Hell House, if you want to call it? It was an apartment, right?
Well, we started off in an actual house and then we moved into an apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first house was sick. It was dope as fuck.
Yeah. When you were like the manager of that place, right? Like of that property.
No, so that's when I met Jalen. So this house we moved into with Jalen's dad, but it was like separate kind of. Like his dad like just had his own little area and then we controlled the rest of the house.
Do you remember his room?
Oh my god, dude, bad.
So big place, like kind of. This is the first
Yeah,
place. Yeah.
it was like a 3-bedroom. Actually, we lived in 2 different houses. We lived in the apartment. So we lived in the first
Yeah.
3-bedroom.
And
We
then
moved
another
into
house.
the house, and then we moved into the apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you lived in the first place too. So obviously you were dating Rare at one point. So you're kind of introduced to the rapper lifestyle. And then at what point did like was it like okay we're gonna get another rapper to move in with us like quite a bit later on?
It was, well, I mean, it was probably like 3 years into our relationship, and it was just kind of sprung on me like, hey, this guy from Atlanta is moving here in like 2 weeks. Oh, okay, cool, I guess. And it just went from there. Like, I mean, I didn't know him, so I didn't have any bad feelings towards him. Like, I helped set up a room for him in our garage and like welcomed with open arms, and everything was smooth sailing for quite some time until it wasn't.
Yeah. And she definitely did. And that's where the respect thing comes in because certain individuals, Mr. Old Ordinary likes to say that he bought plane tickets and all this extra shit when it was like, boy, you was living off your chick and her mom. So if anybody did anything for me, it was definitely Julia. And I didn't even know old girl. All I know was that he told me I was coming and that it was and that, we were gonna set up the arrangement and then she hops on the phone and she's like, yo, I don't know you, but like I'm gonna go out and buy some comforters for like the room we have set up for you. And I was like, for real? And she was like, yeah. And then I got there and it was super love. Like the beginning of the whole everything that went on was super dope. You know, like even up until the very last days, like me and Jalen were very, very close, or at least I thought so. My my conclusions have kind of changed. I don't know. I think he's a sociopath, so I don't know how much love he actually had for me. But me being a psychopath, I wear my feelings on my sleeve. Like I can admit, yeah, I'm a little bit narcissistic and manic and a psychopath. But if I'm gonna stab you, it's not gonna be in the back.
Yeah, and like at your time, like at your point, how old were you when that was going on? Like, where were you at that point in life? Because were you already done with Dirty Butt and been through all that type of shit when you were moving there, like later on in your career, or was it still kind of early on?
Yeah, so that was way, way later. So like, oh man, so to start off, like my whole kind of trajectory, it all started after X. So X got released from prison, and at that point, I was hanging out with young bands, and
Random
basically like
connection.
I was just yeah, I was just kind of getting my feet wet and shit like that. Young Bands was super cool with Xtentacion. He got X to repost one of my songs. I wasn't cool with X, never really spoke to him or anything like that. But he got him to repost one of my songs, a few of my songs. I think it was like Slaughter Pit, You Die We Ball, and another track X reposted. And that's when like I started to kind of get the attention from the underground scene per se. And then after that, I went on to who was one of the first people I linked up with. Um, man, let's see. I couldn't even tell you in order too much, man. My life's been a blur to some degree. But speaking on Dirty, but basically, actually, that's all around the same point in time because Slaughter Pit, the cover art was done by Dirty Butt, and then me and Dirty Butt started talking. He did a few more covers, and he said that he was out in Charlotte and that he wanted me to pull up. And I was like, for sure, bro. So I went out there, I put up on him and Kids Next Door. They were super cool and everything like that. I thought the music was trash. I thought they were all trash, except for Kaka. But Kaka turned out to be in a weird relationship with an underage trained boy, whatever like that. So I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with old boy, but I liked the dude before all that. And then what made me distance myself was that I was there in some of these conversations with Dirty Butt and Mozzie with a push start was
Mm.
talking about how it was okay to scam artists who they thought would never surface because it didn't matter. And it was all about I'm gonna get mine. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I kind of started to distance myself. And then around that same time period, actually, believe it or not, I was fucking with Flacco and Edison, and that was actually a little before the Dirty Butt kind of us kind of meeting up, me becoming friends per se. And like when I booked the show out in Florida, I booked it with Flacco, and then I said, "Hey, Dirty Butt, are you guys down to come up?" And like nobody, you can believe what you want, right? Because I'm the dude who's like, "Oh, I'm responsible for this and that." But I introduced Flacco and Edison to Dirty Butt, which got around to Spider Gang and all that corny shit that they're all portraying now. And then after all that shit, that's kind of like I went on my own. I created VP. VP ended up falling apart because of egos. If you ask me, a lot of everybody in the collective started to talk shit about each other and go behind each other's back, this and that, this and that. And then I kind of separated myself from the whole VP thing, took it back because that's my philosophy. It's on my face. Um, and then I met Rare, and I met Rare because I was actually very suicidal. My life wasn't going according to plan. And I remember like I had a fucking shotgun just like looking at it every night, like contemplating like why are you so fucking pussy? And if I wasn't such a pussy at the time, I would have fucking done it. And I remember making a story just being like, yo, like anyone like please like I'm looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. And Rare actually reached out to me, bro. And why I had so much love for him at the beginning because I kind of placed my life in his hands because at that point like I was really in a dark place. But hey, oh boy, somehow from that conversation we had that night kind of helped me through that specific night. And then after that we became pretty close, talking here and there, exchanging tracks. And then we were like, yo, we could really do something if we combine our powers. And then that's where I ended up in the house.
Yeah. And you'd already been like through it with him for a while because he was like, do you know him when he was like little assault shotgun rifle or whatever the fuck?
I didn't know him back then. When I met him, he was young. He was young, rare, and I never heard about the kid at all, actually. But what I will say is, when I heard his music, I said, "Yo, this dude has more potential than like anyone that I had seen at that point."
Yeah. No, but I meant
Besides this,
yeah, but I meant like Julia. You knew him when he was all that type of shit. Like before he was even a rapper, you found out about him because of his rapping.
Um, I didn't find out because of him because of his rapping. I actually met him through Carrick. So I I matched with Carrick on Tinder, and Carrick was like, "Hey, you're really a good homie, but my friend really like you," and that's where I met Jalen. But at the time, he would go over to Carrick's house and he would record, and that's when somebody else said he was like recording on a Barbie mic and shit. But that was all as little assault rifle. He changed it to rare, I think, after X had come and did a concert in town.
Yeah. They opened up on the Revenge tour there, right? Yeah. And you said you burnt the shirt. I remember we were talking about that at one point. Yeah. Well, were you like into X and all that though? Like, were you into that type of music before that point?
When I met him, no, not at all. Like, I've always been a Yellow Wolf girl, and at the time, I think I was really into Panic at the Disco, so not even anything close now.
Damn. And then all of a sudden, it was like you're just brought into like the like in what time span would you say? Because you told me you dropped out of school, right?
Yeah, so I was, at the time I met him is when I was working at that apartment. But it was 2017, so I think I was 19 when I met him. Maybe I think I was about to turn 20, and he was being about to turn 19.
Yeah. So you're like living a pretty normal life, like business manager, or not, or like apartment property manager, and then all of a sudden it's like, how did he convince you to move in, or did he move in with you? You moved in with him?
Yeah, he moved in with me, which it wasn't even like he convinced me. He just kind of started staying there. And then like Caleb just started staying there, and then Dom just started staying there, and then it just like snowballed into a shit show.
Yeah, because Dom is what is it, Lean and whatever the fuck his name is now. I think he hit me up at one point. He was like the clothing designer, right? For the
Oh
brand?
no, that's Nathan.
Nathan.
I think.
Crap. Yeah, because you guys don't call each other by like your rapper names. You call each other by just like
King's
regular.
the only one that by his rapper name.
Yeah, Andy doesn't seem like it fits. Just
I love Andy.
I'm gonna change your name to just Andy. Is that what we're just like gonna call you from now on?
It might be.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm down.
So you guys all like, just like explain to me like what that environment was like, honestly, because obviously we've heard stories from other sides that it was like this, and I don't know how much we can talk about it because I don't want this taken down, but it's like this torture pit, and people were getting put in dog cages, and there was like cats getting thrown off balconies, and
Don't get me. It was fucking awful. Like it sucked. A lot of it sucked, but it wasn't as dramatic as everybody's making it up to be. I mean, bad. There was definitely bad. There was abuse. There was toxicity. There was anything that you could really think of. But to the extent that people are saying, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
so
I
like,
agree. I think that yeah, it was it was ridiculous, man. But I think that at the point I was in my life, I embraced that sort of madness. But looking back, being a little bit more mature and after prison kind of refined me. Looking back, like, yeah, it was for sure a shit show from all standards. Like, and it's sad because another reason why I have a lot of respect for Julia, despite our differences, is because she was the first person, right? Not rare, right? This dude who's a domestic violence advocate and all this shit. Nah, he actually told me one time, I don't care if you throw your ex in a meat grinder, right? Just don't get me in trouble with my PO.
Yep.
that's where you drew the line when you got him in trouble with his PO. Yeah.
That's when he says, I don't give. You gotta realize that my ex, we're not going to speak about her by name, but when I got there, she had been giving Jalen and all the boys in the collective, like hundreds of dollars. I remember Caleb, right? Caleb lied to her and said that he needed money for an abortion, and he had Shay give him $700 just so he can go buy some weed. And then he admitted it to me. And then I remember she was talking about Jalen. Jalen and them borrowed like four to $500 when they went to New York, so they could buy. And I was sitting there and I'm fuck. Anyway, yeah, cut that part out. So they, yeah, they bought something, and they had they basically, you know, took money from her and everything. And I remember talking to her, and I'm like, wait, you gave them money? Was that right before they went to New York? Yeah. And so I said, Jalen, did you take that money from her so that, you know, you can have fun in New York? He's like, yeah, but just don't tell her, bro. And I'm like, damn, you niggas is crazy. But anyway, what my point was is that Julia from the beginning said, yo, this girl is going to ruin your life. And I said, no. Julia actually tried to kick her out. I don't fucking know how many times. And I begged Julia, no. Like, let the girl stay. Like, you know, like, she's cool, this and that. And Julia was like, get this bitch the fuck out of the house because she's fucking nuts. And you guys together are not good. And I was just like, no.
Yeah. And keep in mind, like, just so I can say this is not to discredit the victim of the case or try to make her in a different
No.
point her in a different light. None of us are trying to do that. Yeah.
I did what I did for sure.
But, you know, we're just trying to have the conversation because it's like, so she was living at the house before you even got there, basically.
No.
No,
He was
you brought
friends
her.
with Jalen before I got there.
Ah.
Jalen introduced us. The day I got there, Jalen introduced us. The day I got there.
Okay. So in this house, you got the guy with the X on his forehead with the gold teeth. You got that's no, he wasn't there.
He wasn't staying there.
It was just me, Jalen, Carrick, and the girl that Carrick was seeing, and then Jalen's dad, but he wasn't really off. But
is his parents like not together?
At that time, no, they were not.
Oh.
Like, they were separating, and that's why we ended up living with him, because it was an opportunity for us to we were living in a studio apartment with our 2 cats, and it just wasn't working. So it was an opportunity for us to get into an actual house and for Jalen to be with his collective, because his parents were split. Dad needed a new place to live.
I gotta give it to like you guys, and at least like the underground. It's like no matter what happens, like I swear artists always find a way to survive and find some way to get to another place, to keep living, to keep making money. It's like insane, because I feel like if I fucking went on the street like tomorrow, I'd be like, well, I'm screwed. There would be nobody to move in with or somebody's dad.
How we got approved for that apartment is beyond me, because the first 2 houses we lived in, we got evicted because we destroyed them.
Bro, the second house was filthy. It was so dope, bro. It was such an uppity neighborhood. Do you remember when the home association hit us up and said that my ex's car was so fucked up because of the window being broken out that we couldn't park it there because they said it was an eyesore?
Yep.
How did the window break?
Eyesore.
Her car was just a piece of junk.
Oh.
Yeah, it was horrible.
So it wasn't like it wasn't a repeat of the tour where the dude broke the window and then everybody got screwed over.
It was just trash as fuck.
And the window thing wasn't even like they shattered out the window. Like, he smacked it with his ring and it like cracked. And that was it.
But then her window, it just the motor stopped working, so it just wouldn't slide up.
How did you guys like even afford to eat? Was SoundCloud paying like all you guys out collectively, like to go on tour? Your mom was paying for the tour? Really? Wow.
Well, my mom paid for like majority of everything, honestly. Like food, if we needed groceries, she would come and bring us groceries. Like tour, I'm not too sure. I think they mostly funded that off of ticket sales, but don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure. But King would know more about how tour was funded. But like the van getting broken, my mom did that.
Yeah. I think Jalen, so what Jalen was actually able to pull like money from his fans when he could or whatever like that. I know me personally, when I like kind of got into the house, I was doing some things that I can't speak about.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. It wasn't
Wait.
all music. No.
No, because that's like that's what I find crazy about like the whole SoundCloud uprising and shit. It's like SoundCloud doesn't even pay like it plays like fucking scraps, right?
But
Like,
listen, here's what it was too: is that um, Jalen had been a very influential person to certain individuals in that town. So I remember like every day being like wasted because he would have like these groupie ass like you remember, Rima, who no one will ever know, is like these people would come over and just like bring over just like hella alcohol and hella food.
mm,
And then like they would come back that night or beg us to come back, and then we'd be like, yeah, but you got to bring alcohol and food. And so as shitty
yeah,
as that is, like if you want me to be honest, like a lot of that was just taking advantage of the people who idolized us.
yeah. Because Rare was like kind of like a famous like porn star, I guess you would say. That was really his rise to fame, was like posting porn on Facebook with him and like right more than it was the actual rapping that got him anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither one of you guys really want to even acknowledge that shit. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, any like, because you even said the other day that she hit you up and was like, "I swear if something happened." Was that recently or was that before? If you did something to that cat, I'm gonna kill you. Was that recently?
Like last
Yeah.
Thursday. Yeah.
That came up because we were talking about, I was like, yo, I was like, listen, Twisted. I was like, I respect you, but I don't really necessarily like your opinions. And I said, your channel is dope, but I feel like you might need a nigga like me to come and combat you, right? And you were like, yeah, but it's just gonna be two different opinions. And I said, well, you know what? Why don't we add a feminine kind of twist to it, or like somebody, right, who doesn't have a dick and a balls, who can come in and stand with two titans. You're like, well, no one's gonna stand up to you. I don't think I'm the toughest dude ever. I've had my ass beat multiple times. But you're like, but people don't want to, speak their mind. I said, well, I know somebody who will definitely speak their mind and who continuously speaks their mind, because she just told me that my balls will be decapitated if I threw that cat off that fucking balcony. And then we said, let's have Julia speak her mind.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I think the people want to see or might need is if us three somehow constructed some sort of platform where we talked about, the everyday landscape of what's going on, not only in the underground, but other topics, like maybe even the mainstream.
Yeah. Because. So I think that's cool in the way that because in the last one you said you didn't even think she would come on, so I'm assuming that was probably because of the whole thing she said about the cat. You probably thought she was mad at you, or maybe you hope that she wouldn't come on because she's. You said she's the only. What you say? She's the only woman in your life you've ever been afraid of.
Fuck you for bringing that up.
But no, I think it's good because I know that people think that like.
Hey, listen, no, you can say that, but when we were at the YMCA, hey, I jumped on her head like this.
You're lying. You're five.
Hey, I'm 6'3", and she couldn't stand up with me. I was dunking on shorty, on females. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm 6'3", baby.
Okay, if we're gonna get to that, you got the measuring tape. Can you stand? Are you able to do that to stand up and prove that you're 6 foot?
Man, I got things to do today. Maybe the next episode of Y'all Lucky, man. Because until she respects my height, I ain't gonna pull this out. But maybe the next episode, man, if we make it there. But I got it.
He's 5'8". Don't let him.
Okay, I'm glad that we're
maybe 6'4" on a good day, man. Tall as fuck.
I'm glad that we're kind of on like that level where it's like I don't know, it's a little less dramatic than it was last time for sure. But at the same time, okay, so obviously like I didn't even really you said you weren't really like a fan of the scene like that, but I know we've talked about Zilla before and you were like, nah, Zilla is like peak, right? That's what you said. And then King, I don't know how you feel about him, and I kind of got a different opinion on him. So I was like, that'd be an interesting topic. I feel like if we really want to see if this dynamic, and you guys can stay good, and me and you can stop fighting, because like we're making leprosy go through 5 different He's like, "Why are you guys fighting?" Like, I'm like, I don't know. He's not picking up the phone, but I don't know.
Yeah, I listen, man. I'm not going to speak on certain things unless you're willing to really speak on them. I have to get going, but I'm glad that you both allowed me to speak my mind, and I'm glad that I got to hear you guys speak your mind. But if you're down, I would love to do a video possibly on, is Zilla really still the guy who we all thought he would be, and is Zilla really is he really still the king of the underground?
Are you down for that?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. As long as King's not drunk.
Yeah,
Okay. All
He's
right.
drunk. He's always drunk.
Yeah.
I'll hang up. Drunk.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. Your boy is too focused.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
yeah.
sounds like a plan. It sounds like Okay, sweet. All right, we'll run it next time. Let us know if you guys want to see that. I think this is an interesting dynamic. I actually thought this was going to be a fight when we first put it on, but it seems like you guys have been able to put the past behind you, so that's kind of dope. And like, I think we're good now that I put that video back up. I think you don't give a fuck anymore, but I mean, we'll get to that a little bit later on. But yeah, all right, sweet. Thank you guys.